Hello and welcome to this week's video on the Resta Saga Classic Car Restoration YouTube channel. And this is a very special video because it's celebrating 1,000 subscribers, which is a major milestone on this channel, and I want to thank you all for keeping in contact, watching my videos and subscribing to the channel. And if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button down there underneath the screen. I'd really appreciate your input. The subject of this video is the Morris Minor, and I want to look at, is it the perfect classic car daily driver? I've looked at the Land Rover and I've looked at the MG, and now it's time to look at the Morris Minor. So without further ado, let's get it moved outside, take it for a run to get it warmed up, and then we'll have a chat. So just before I move the Morris Minor outside, it has been sitting for a week or two, so I have reconnected the battery here. It's on a temporary disconnect, which gives me a bit of peace of mind when it's sitting in storage. Checking the water levels, which doesn't really show up very well on camera, but there's plenty in there. And let's check the oil levels as well, which is pretty much bang on. All good. Right, now that the fluids have been checked, we can safely start it up and move it outside. So the 1954 Morris Minor then. This vehicle has been around my family for quite a while, and as regular viewers on this channel will know that I restored it myself. This is, as I said, 1954. You can spot that because it's Series 2 with a split windscreen and the so-called cheese grater grille. Other things you can spot from the outside are the smaller rear window compared to the 1000 model, and also the trafficators. So, thinking in terms of daily driving. Now, I do not drive this car daily. It's probably the best kept of all the cars in my collection. It lives in a garage. It goes out on nice days, unlike today, which is cold and wet here in Northern Ireland, but at least it's not currently raining, which makes a difference. I think in terms of usability, I do know people who use Morris Minors daily. Most of them are of the 1000 model, and there's reasons for that, which I will come to. So, things you want from a daily driver: comfortable, usable, practical, all these things. Practicality. Healthy amount of room inside. Let's open it up and have a look. Room for two in the front, two, maybe three in the back at a squeeze. Very comfortable. This particular model does not have seat belts fitted. They weren't in it as standard, and I haven't fitted them since, but it would be easy to do. And the 1000 models, certainly the later ones, definitely did have seat belts as standard. 4-speed gearbox. They all only ever had 4-speed. No overdrive, and I'm not aware that an overdrive is available, so that is a slight limitation. They can be quite short geared, but things can be done to change that, such as a longer ratioed rear differential. Inside, controls very simple, but does everything you need. Simple speedometer, oil pressure, fuel, headlights with the dip switch under there on the floor, and a heater probably warm enough to put you out of the car. I have never experienced a classic car heater quite like it. It is enormous, and this particular one seems to work very, very well. Windows are clear all the time. Other controls, wipers are up here. Now, the wipers are a bit lackluster. I'm told you can upgrade them to Land Rover Defender ones, although I have not done that here, and that would probably considerably improve things, although they are only 1 speed, so maybe a variable speed controller might be worth it. Steering wheel's fine, horn's great, it's like a boat. Indicators down here, that's the switch, but they are actually trafficators, and this is a problem I feel for modern traffic, and it's a safety problem rather than a practicality problem. People do not anymore be used to looking for indicators or trafficators down halfway down the side of a vehicle, so they do struggle to recognize them and drive appropriately for them. I have this car fitted with flashing trafficators or flashicators. I got them, thoroughly recommend them, very easily fitted, and they're brilliant. We'll maybe demonstrate those towards the end of the videos, but rather than the arm coming up and a constantly lit orange light, it flashes, so it definitely draws more attention. Later cars such as the 1000 had larger rear lamps with indicators as a modern car would. These brake lamps are small, can be difficult to see. Indeed, I've had other classic car drivers remark to me, "Oh, I didn't see your rear lights on." They were on. They're just so tiny, especially in the summer, but something to think of, visibility when daily driving. Looking further on right on the outside, other things, talking about practicality. Headlamps, well, you'd probably get more light out of a candle in a jam jar. These headlamps are terrible, and I love classic cars, but these are particularly bad. They're worse than the Land Rover and they're worse than the MG. Easily upgraded, it has to be said. LED bulbs, halogen bulbs, or halogen depending on what you wanted to pronounce it. These are not sealed beam units. I didn't refit the sealed beam units. I have them on a shelf in the garage. Side lights are also quite small, but other than that, I think that's the outside of the car. Good visibility, it has to be said. Plenty of glass, lovely glass area. Wheels and tires. Now, it has to be said that Morris Minors originally came on cross plies, certainly within this era, and in my opinion, I don't think cross plies are fit for modern use. They tramline, they're difficult to repair, they have wandering steering and braking. I'm a radial fan. These are on radials. Yes, they're not the correct ratios in terms of sidewall to tread, but they're as close as you can get. So getting tires can be a little difficult if you're a real stickler for originality. If you're not, there are actually plenty of options, and indeed quite a few vintage car tire suppliers are stocking Morris Minor tires as it is. Let's have a little look under the bonnet and think about the mechanicals. So this Morris Minor is fitted with the venerable A-series engine. Probably should be the flathead 803. I think the previous owner fitted an A-series, and I'm not really going to argue with it. I think it's an easier engine to work on, easier engine to get parts for, and it has a bit more power. Certainly from a daily driving usage, I would recommend the A-series. I'm sure you're all aware of how many different cars it was in. It was in the Mini, to name but one. So parts for this engine are not going to be difficult to get. Very easily tunable as well to give you a bit more oomph up the road. And if you really want to fit, you could fit an 1100, which is what this is. This is the engine out of an 1000 Morris Minor. So yes, my Morris is a bit of a hybrid, but not in the electrical nature. We don't like them. Dynamo, daily driving. If I was using this daily, I'd probably swap that out for an alternator. That might give you a bit more guaranteed oomph, and it's not dependent on engine revs. Other things I might consider is electronic ignition, which this vehicle doesn't have, but my MG does have, and it's very, very good. Good strong spark, starts all the time, no problems. Nice big battery, never lets me down. Otherwise, everything is very simple to work on. And if you're the type of person who likes to work on their own car, I can't think of a classic that's easier to work on than a Morris Minor. It's all sitting there, and look how much space there is in the engine bay. You could probably get in there beside the engine if you wanted to. If you're driving it over the winter, you can put a radiator muff on just to control cold airflow if you didn't want to overcool it. You can even, in the summer, you can isolate the radiator within the car, or the heater, sorry, within the car. So it's all very controllable. In terms of efficiency, you can probably get about 30 miles to the gallon out of one of these little engines if you're not thrashing it and you're driving it sensibly. Gearbox, this has the later 1000 gearbox. The earlier gearbox is probably slightly harder to get parts for. You can identify it by the longer gear stick and a flatter gear knob on the top rather than the pear-shaped one that this one has. As I said, parts are easy to get and they're actually quite cheap, certainly compared to the Land Rover. Probably more comparable to the MG in price. A lot of parts suppliers get posted very quickly. I use ESM. They are my selected parts supplier, and I cannot fault them for that. So let's have a think about costs and running costs. So other than fuel, in terms of running costs, yes, a classic car is going to need more servicing than a modern. This particular servicing schedule I'm not going to go into in this video. That's probably another subject for another time. But if you're going to be doing high mileages, motorway mileages, etc., this is maybe not the vehicle for you. And to be honest, if you're thinking about a Morris Minor for daily driver, I would probably consider the 1000 model. Parts are easier to get, they are more practical, they are safer, they have more power, and they're probably better at keeping up on modern traffic. Insurance for this, well, myself and my father are insured in this. Yes, it's classic car insurance with a limited mileage, but it's £100 for a year, which is very, very hard to beat. This is MOT and road tax exempt, so that's hard to beat. I do not MOT this car because here in Northern Ireland our MOTs are government run and they can be a bit hit and miss as to who you get. But that's up to personal choice. So, in summary, Morris Minor, there's lots of them. They're practical, they're cheap to run, they keep up with modern traffic. They're probably not ideal if you're doing lots of motorway miles or need to get somewhere in a real rush. But they're great. They're quintessential British classic. You're going to get smiles wherever you go. People will want a lift. They're cheap to run, and I think they're a really, really good classic car that you could consider driving daily. I said this about the AMG. The Land Rover I think is probably a bit on the fence. Out of my three, if I was to put them, I would probably say MG first, Morris Minor second, Land Rover third, of my three particular models. That's my own personal view, but you can tell me what you think in the comments below. So once again, thank you very much for watching here on the Resto Saga Classic Car Restoration YouTube channel. As I said at the start, we're just past 1,000 subscribers, so if we can continue to build that, that would be great. If you want to see more content, please subscribe, hit the like button, fire me a comment, I reply to them all. Recently had a poll on there on the channel, and it turns out the MG out of the three is the most popular, I suppose is the word I'd use, car. But if you want to go and find that poll and fire a little vote in for a Morris Minor, please go ahead. I will be keeping an eye on that and let it run for a month or so to see what people think. So once again, thanks for watching, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you all again next week. See you then.